Do you remember this? Because I was like, hey, because he is choke slamming me off the roof of that barn through another little barn house. I don't know what it was. And it's like I don't know, 8x8 little.
There was not
It
much
wasn't
margin
big.
of error.
That's what I'm saying. And I go, hey, how do you want me to do this for you? And you were like, hey, man, just go. I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. My back, I can't see anything. I was like, you're going to have to put me where you want me. And I admit, man, I was like, either this is going to be great or I'm going to be paralyzed.
It's going to be a short night.
You know, like it was that, and that was a real thing that we did. I mean, of course, we had something soft, but I had to go through that little barn that we had, and I had no idea where I was landing because I couldn't see. So it's pretty scary, and it was real. It was, man, it was crazy.
I think we have it.
Oh, do we?
No, please. No, this is what you asked for, right? This is what you wanted.
Oh, that is a tight little fit there.
It was, yeah.
If you would have seen it, you'd be like, oh my God, he might kill him.
Y'all are crazy.
Yeah, and I guess I can tell you now.
What the? Oh,
No, you're well aware. So this is probably 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
yeah.
When that happened, and the temperature has fallen, and that was a tin roof that we were standing on, and it had started to condensate.
Oh, geez.
So it was like standing on ice.
Yeah, it was slippery up there. I remember that.
It was really slippery. I mean, there was one point where I slipped and almost fell. I don't think we have that footage, but
Or do we?
yeah, I don't want to see it.
Oh, shoot.
Whoop! Whoa!
Almost right off the roof there.
That's wild. Oh, you knew it got
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah,
You're
it
like,
had to be
wait,
hard
wait.
to keep your footing up there because it was a tin roof. There's, it's doing this number.
Yeah. So his foot hit my foot, trying to keep my balance. I slid, and I'm right on the edge of going off of that thing sideways. But
I almost won that match, is what you're saying.
yeah, you did. You almost won that match, but what's going through my head, right? Because obviously I have to place you. I've got to push you out far enough and place. And what's going in my head is, please don't your feet. Please don't slip. Yeah, and I didn't want to say anything to you. I didn't want you worried because I knew you were already having to take a blind bump off that high roof. I was just like, oh my goodness, just please don't slip right now. And I was just like, do I tell him or do I not? Screw it. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
Thank goodness it worked. But man, it was a nightmare up there because of how slick it got. And I mean, you can kind of tell. You can kind of just tell by the ginger way that everybody was walking, especially me. It was just like, oh man.
We all were up there, were like, oh shoot.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We were just taking bumps or whatnot, and for you to have to do what you did, because you tombstone and gave a big boot up there, and then threw gallows off the top of the roof.
Yeah.
So you were moving. I would just kind of step it back.
It could have been a record that
Never.
would have lasted forever. It may. I mean, 21-0 may last forever, but I think the general consensus. I think the general consensus.
None of us wanted that.
Nobody wanted it. I think it would have been just the lore, the legend and lore of that would have been. It would have been really cool for wrestling, but it's not. Wasn't my decision. And people ask me all the time, well, why did you do it?
I know.
Right? I'm like, well, I didn't really have a choice. Yeah, I guess I did have a choice. I didn't have to do it. But, and then what happens? And then me and Brock are having to shoot at WrestleMania, and then it's gonna
That would be good.
it wouldn't have been good. I mean, might have took it easy on him, but what are you laughing at? Damn it! But you have to look at this business in a sense of there's a lot of people that probably maybe they didn't want to put me over to get me into that position, and they did it, and it's just kind of the way it works. Wasn't my decision, so I had to make the best of the hand that was dealt me.
And y'all did, even though you don't remember it.
I don't. That's probably the best part is that I don't really remember it.
Yeah. Nobody wanted to see that.
Yeah. Well.
Did you like the streak being ended?
Hated it.
Me too.
Hated it.
Like I was so mad that day, and he doesn't even remember it. So like it's like a lose-lose.
I thought the streak should have ended with Giant Gonzalez.
Oh shucks, yeah. You are a visionary.
I almost ended with Giant Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Not
the
the streak.
streak was an accident.
Yeah. No.
Streak was an accident.
Yeah.
It came up in a production meeting, and I believe it was Michael Hayes who was like, Bob, I think Undertaker's undefeated at WrestleMania like 10 times in a row.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't get beat right then. Like as soon as that was brought to light.
It
Kibosh.
was brought to life.
Oh, we got to beat him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think we should end that. But then it became a thing, and part of it. Look, if there was a guy to do it, Brock was a guy to do it. I get that. I understand that. However, for me, and I'm speaking strictly selfishly here,
Same.
it was something created out of my messed up head that it was like a baby, you watch it grow, that character, and just and it grows and you see it come to life, and I wanted to keep it pure forever.
Yeah, me too.
So I understand the decisions why. It's just not something I would have done.
Nobody gets out of this alive. Characters or anything else.
No, I know, and I know you and I texted the next day, and
Wait, he didn't even know his name till 4 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah, and I waited until the next day because I just sensed I did text our boss that night, and I wasn't working there at the time, and I texted him what I thought of it, and I just said I wish you wouldn't have done that, but you have your reasons. I think I said other than that, it was a great show.
For some reason, every year, Vince would be like, well, we're going to break the streak this year. Sir, can I ask you something? Yeah. Why? Why not? Nothing lasts forever. This could. And I'll remember the time that he wanted Edge to break the streak.
Yeah.
And I went to Edge and I said, hey, listen, just so you know, he's thinking about you breaking the streak. And you know Adam, he's a great friggin' guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
But if he gets mad, he gets mad. He's got a temper. And he was like, he got mad. No way. I'm not doing that. You can tell him to go to hell. I will not break the streak. No. I said, I'm just the messenger, dude. But yeah, I don't know, because I don't know if he was mad because it was becoming bigger than anything else he'd put on the card for WrestleMania. It definitely got higher than any title match.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he just had that in mind. And it all took off with you and Shawn. It was a nice little streak. It was going well. And then they booked you and Shawn. And if you'll remember, we tried to start that thing up in San Antonio in the Royal Rumble when you eliminated Shawn. Mm-hmm. And I remember that you guys wanted to go like about 10 to 15 minutes after it came down to you two. Yeah. And Vince was like, God, 2 baby faces. Who cares about that? And you guys tore the friggin' house down. And then, but then he wouldn't let it happen that year. So he went for it the next year. And I think it was like a throwaway at first. Maybe not a throwaway, but it's like
It wasn't supposed to be what it was.
It was never supposed to be what it was. And I remember that we got assignments. I think it was the first year that we got assignments to each story. And me and Dave Kapoor were assigned to that story. We had so much fun with it. And, you know, I'm sure you remember, we're sitting there and we're doing the first rehearsal, ring rehearsal. And you're lacing your boots and you go, hey, P.S., when are we on? I thought, I don't really want to answer that right now before the rehearsal even starts. So I kind of blew you off. Yeah, you go, Michael, when are we on? You're on 5th. How many matches are after us? About 4 or 5 or 6. You stopped lacing your boots. You looked over at Shawn. This just went to a new level. Then I don't think it was then, but you asked, well, how much time do we have? 30. Good luck with that.
No. It was no.
It was 25.
It was it was like in the 15,
Really?
20, and I was like, yeah, I can't get to the ring in 15 minutes.
But that match, it was just, and I know I got on you guys' nerves, you know, because you guys would say something, and I would think about it, and try to step back and look at it in a different perspective. Hey, maybe that works even better this way. But it was art. I got lost in it.
Right.
And I knew the finish. And you really started rooting for Shawn to break the streak.
Right.
And I knew the streak wasn't going to get broke, but every false finish. And what was funny, what was the big kick out where you had the exasperation on your face? Shawn didn't even see that, did he?
No.
He didn't even know. And I mean, it just grew. And I'll never forget, you guys were about 25 in. And Jerry Briscoe is going apeshit because he's doing gorilla.
Right. He's doing times.
timing.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and goes, Michael, how much longer they got? And Vince just comes over and goes, let him go. Vince said, let him go.
Let him go.
And you guys went another 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Easy. You could have gone longer.
Oh, it could have been. Yeah.
You really, I mean, that is the art that this business is, because everybody in the building, they come in, they want to believe that these two individuals, or 4, whatever it may be, really don't like each other. Everybody wants to see a good slobber knocker, knockdown, throw out fight. And then we have to go to the trouble of suspending their disbelief to make them to believe that. And you guys, I don't think they ever thought you guys hated each other, but man, they thought Shawn has a chance of doing this.
Yeah. No. Shawn and I had such a storied history anyway. I mean, just I don't ever remember having a bad match with Shawn, but all of our matches forever had always been just stellar.
Yes.
And then we end up both of us on the backside of our careers, and just they threw us together. Let's let them roll. Okay, well, we're going to disrespect them on the way too, and put them on 5th. Okay, like I don't think like Shawn's mindset and my mindset. I don't understand what they thought would have changed. We were both such competitive and competitors that when we weren't going to supposed to take that as an insult.
Yeah.
It was just like, are you kidding me? That may be the absolute best in-ring performer of all time, and I had a pretty fair career too.
It's still the greatest match WrestleMania history,
Wow,
in my view.
You don't give yourself enough credit for the John Cena versus Undertaker match where John Cena just berades you for like 7 weeks and you come in and just do the hits.
And he was in the
And then,
best shape of his
by
life.
the way, it's exactly what everyone wanted.
Yep.
And it was like, you can sit there and go like all these people 5-star match. That is a 5-star match. Why? Because the crowd was on the edge of their seats the entire time. I mean, I remember watching that match and going,
that was perfect. That was exactly what I wanted.
you
And
go.
I imagine you wanted to, and I hear you say it on probably on this podcast, like, I wanted to do more. I wanted to do this. If you would have done that, like, it wouldn't have mattered. That was a 5-star match right there. That's what the crowd wanted.
I appreciate that. But so that was one of those instances where I had really gotten myself, because I was really unhappy with my physical condition against Roman, right? Because I was really banged up and I didn't get in the shape, and I don't feel like I did for Roman what I was supposed to do. He got his hand raised fine, but I had a real chip on my shoulder. I came back, I think I had one of my hips done, and I really had something I wanted to prove, right? Because I'm even at that point in my career, I'm always like, I want to go out and steal the show. So I rehabbed the hip, I get myself in shape. I let the old man know, yep, I'm ready to do this. Let's go, full steam. So I'm training like a freaking maniac, and then I get so I'm thinking that, right? I'm not thinking story. Yeah, I'm not thinking story as much of I am redemption as far as my in-ring, right? And I get there, and Vince goes, 3 minutes. I'm like, what? Excuse me?
I'm the Undertaker.
3 minutes.
That's John Cena.
Yeah. I'm ready. Honestly, I was in shape. I could have done, holding my breath, I bet I could have done 25 minutes.
Didn't you bring John in with you thinking he had your back too?
Yeah. No, Vince. So I'm like, wait, like I can't hear. Like I just can't, because I'm so, my whole motivation, and which it should have been, you know what, Undertaker and John Cena, first time ever at Mania, which should have been, all I'm thinking is, like, the last time you were in the ring, you stunk it up. My opinion. You stunk it up. I'm going to go out and show people I still got the motor. I can still do all that. So that's what
the veteran in you didn't go, hey, kid, less is more.
No.
Less is more.
No. No.
I'm not there.
No, I'm in a whole different frame of mind. And then, I get there, and we're good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The way Cena berated you for, it felt like months, and then literally comes out, and you just come out and just beat the holy hell. And the fact that it was Cena made it even that much more, because it wasn't expected.
Right.
And it just, you had everything. So all that training, by the way, paid off, because everything was perfect.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
We're gonna have
Thank
to have
you.
him. We're gonna have to have him back.
Push you over.
There it is.
love
Let's
that.
Push
go.
you over.
Yeah. Let's go.
We're
Push
gonna have to do a
him
part
over.
2.
Yeah.
So obviously you're again, all the matches the last 15 years of my career, probably the 10.
Yeah.
Breaking the streak, when he actually did pull the trigger on breaking the streak. I don't think you knew.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
And
We had gone back and forth.
he wavered the whole week.
Yeah.
And I had talked to him, and I felt at the time I had him, and okay, we're not breaking the streak. And then something happened. He was wavering earlier in the day, and I talked to him again, and then I was under the impression that you were going over.
Right.
And if you'll remember, we were at the practice ring, and you guys were in the turnbuckle or something, and I said, yeah, here's where I was thinking you could do this, and that. And you had just had this look. And I looked at you, and you go, you don't know, do you? And I go, no, what? Brock's going over. And at that point, there was no more arguing. What were we? I think doors had already opened.
Yeah, it was late. It was late.
It was late decision. And at that point, it was like, well, okay. And on one hand, you go, well, if anybody was going to break it, Brock Lesnar. But he didn't need it.
Right.
He was a made man.
Right.
Somebody like Roman at that time in his career, or there were other people that it may have benefited more.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think it should have never been broken, and just gone down as just one of those things. And who knows, if it never was broken, you may still be making a yearly appearance.
No. I would have walked. I would have probably walked. If he hadn't have broken, I would have probably walked a lot sooner than I did, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I knew, like, physically I wasn't where I should be from my personal, like, I think I would have had grace from the equity I'd built up through the years, I would have had grace with a lot of our audience. But like for me personally, I was just like, I was chasing the dragon. Like I was looking for that one match to go and hang my hat on and said, that's it, bang, like Shawn, like Shawn had, right? Like Shawn had the perfect ending. He went to, those last 2 matches we had. Well, we'll forget about Saudi and that catastrophe.
I watched that about a year and a half ago, and I just laughed through the whole thing.
You can't help it. Like now you can't.
Now.
It was very serious that
Oh my
day and
God.
that night.
So let me ask you. This is one I've always wanted to ask you. Is that okay?
Please.
No.
Well, I don't know. What is it?
Please, yes.
Hang on.
No.
Yes.
No. But again, remember, I can remember the, the time that I asked you, like, hey, like the story that I heard, like you were going to beat me up after WrestleMania, or no, the one WrestleMania with Steve and all that.
Yeah, that's my question. No, go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
but I was going to say, like, but what was the real story? Because obviously we never saw each other that day.
Right.
I never, and because it's one of those things. So, and I don't know if you know. So it was, again, I was doing a book, and the guy goes, "Hey, is it true that WrestleMania 14 that the Undertaker came up to you and he was taping his fists and said he was gonna, if this doesn't go down the right way, he's gonna beat your ass?" And I was like, I don't think so. I said, I feel like I'd remember that. And then I said, I didn't see anybody that day except, Hunter and Steve. And so anyway, and then it gets out like, whatever, that I was lying or whatever. But I can remember going and asking Mark, because obviously at that time, I thought maybe this was one I forgot, but I feel like I remembered that. So I came back and I asked Mark and I was like, hey, I had this, interview with this guy and doing the book and, this ever happened? He goes, no. He goes, I feel like if that happened, you remembered it. I said, that's what I thought too. And he's like, yep. And then I hear later on that maybe he did do it, but it was after we left or whatever. And I don't know. So what's
I can tell by his face he did it.
That's what I'm saying. I asked him.
Right.
So, but I just want, because they just want to be on the record, maybe saying he was the one not telling the truth in this. Is all I'm saying.
Please,
So let's
yes.
go. Yeah, here we go.
Please.
Okay. Hear me out.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
So, obviously, you changed
Yeah.
whole a lot to the point where, obviously, we have a great relationship and a great friendship and all of that. So when you ask me about it, like I felt really, really bad to say, yeah, I was going to stomp your ass or try at least to stomp your ass if you didn't do business. Like I felt so bad because our relationship had changed so much, and I genuinely, as a person, cared for you. I was like, I can't say that I was going to do that. I just felt awful.
Yeah.
So I did. I lied to you straight to your face. I had every intention. If business wasn't done, something was going to get done. However it turned out or whoever got involved.
You were
I was dead set on doing absolutely something. But by the time you asked me, our relationship had, not that our relationship was ever bad, but it was just. Again,
but I never saw you that day.
No. But you know how the locker room is. And, it's like, man, I don't know if Shawn's going to do it, or
Okay, I guess.
So that's how it festers.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Well, that's what I was
And
just
it
saying.
was
Because they made again. They said I
said,
I was just trying to remember did we have, because we didn't have.
No, I had already worked.
Yeah.
I had already worked. I worked with Kane, and I'd worked and I'd gone back and done everything, and then you and Steve had gone out, and then I came back to Gorilla, and I was like, I'd honestly gotten myself worked up, like believing the goof, the hype, like shit. He's a wild card, right?
Yeah,
I don't
was
know.
Gonna say, at least because I did. I worked very hard to convince everybody,
Yeah.
If I don't want to do this, I ain't got to do it.
Exactly, and
what I
then
mean?
you take
You can't
that
make me.
and you spill it in that locker room at that time.
And I will say, right, I would say that I was, at least at that time, I was, right, at the very least, a wild card. Easy, right?
Easily.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
yeah.
not a stretch.
Right.
And then everything happened the way it was supposed to happen. Took the tape out. I went back, but I was gone before you ever got back.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
look at you owning it.
I am.
I appreciate
I have
that.
changed.
You
Well,
have
no,
changed. He
I've
used to
changed.
be a liar, and now he's an honest man.
there's a few times.
But no, but it was one of those things where because I've tried to fess up to the ones, like this. Again, I always go like there, like the Rock one. I've asked Hunter like many times, like, have we ever been in a fight, me and the Rock? And he's like, no. I mean, like even asked you, like, Johnny, you remember like me and the Rock getting in an actual fight? Yeah. So they're just hard. I mean, I don't, because again, there are ones that I go like, I don't know, maybe it happened, but I feel like the big ones, again, like this one, especially with Marco.
You remember?
I'd remember those. You know what I mean? And
I wouldn't, and
Those are
I
the
didn't
ones
do.
that
I obviously I had to be at Gorilla because if it was going to happen, it was going to have to happen. But I wasn't like I was. It wasn't like the big pantomime in the. So everybody could see. It was just like it was a subtle thing, and I think somebody. I don't know if it was Bruce, but somebody picked up like, "What are you doing?" I was like, and at first I didn't say anything. You're like, "Why are you?" Like, just got just in case.
Yeah, I got you.
And but that is the truth. Yeah, that was my intention, and I felt so bad when you asked me that time. I was just like, we've come so far.
Yeah,
like, I don't want to.
We would never look again because I believe me, nobody knows that they were tough to deal with more than I do. So. And again, look, I'm always the reason I had said it because I said it to the guy. I said I feel like because that just like. That wasn't his style.
Right.
You know what I mean? He was not Mr. Overly, you know what I mean? Gregarious.
Yeah.
I felt like if Mark had done that to me, I'd remember that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it wasn't, because I feel like, because if he'd have done anything, I feel like he'd went, when we'd just have a little private conversation, he'd have whispered in my ear, like, you don't do this, I am going to beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, it was.
Once you get with somebody your size though, once you get them up there on the shoulder, that's like, okay, that's part one.
I was helping you. You didn't realize it.
No, I know exactly. No, believe me.
Light as a feather. Light as a feather.
And you did.
Light as a feather.
Yeah. No,
I
it
kept
was
telling myself.
I had all of that adrenaline because like during the whole match at WrestleMania 22.
Yeah.
That's all I'm thinking about is like at the end of this, I'm going to try and tombstone him, and like
and not kill him.
And try and that's the biggest thing is not hurting somebody.
Not killing him.
And and I had got you up on the shoulder, I was like, oh, that was good. But now I've got to move you from my shoulder and put you in that spot and hold on for dear life. Because I was like, man, I was pretty proud. I was pretty proud after that.
Aren't you glad that you didn't have that match with Big Show?
Well, I mean,
can you imagine?
No, there's no. I wouldn't even. He's so.
I just did that because
I know. I saw that.
You're gonna get a text when this comes out. You're gonna get it.
I'll get a phone call. Hey, why'd you do that?
Why'd you do me like that?
Why'd you do this? I was like, no. Did I do that? I actually did like this, like where the fingers touch.
You just called me out. I'm not backing you on this one. Hi, Paul.
And two, and on the dive too. Like, there's only a few people that I really like trusted. Kane, I trusted you.